Thank you for having me here. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, exhibitors, participants, may I please stand on the existing protocol. My name is Dr Abdulrauf Abdullahi, as introduced, the Head of Department of Public Administration, Federal University of Missouri. I feel especially elated to be anchoring this all-important session. Before I proceed, I'd like to invite to join me on the stage those who are going to be doing justice to the critical topic I have been mandated to anchor. May I start by inviting to the stage the representative of the Vice Chancellor of Ahmadu Bello University, in person of Dr Sanusi Gambo, who is a senior lecturer, Department of Building and Deputy Director, School of Basic and Remedial Studies, Futua, Ahmadu Bello University. Can you please give a round of applause to him? Thank you. I have the singular honor to invite, thank you. I have the singular honor to invite Dr. Oluwafemi Akande, who is an associate professor, Department of Architecture, Federal University of Technology, Minna. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to please invite you to join us as we dispense justice to the topic to be anchored today. Our topic, which is very fundamental and critical as a development administrator, I believe having alternatives of building material for sustainable material innovation and exploration is going to push in majority of the body that is being faced by low-income earner and the generality of the public when we talk about building in this era and in this generation. You are not strange to the fact that building and materials, construction are becoming increasingly, I don't want to use the word difficult, but it's becoming a tight affair because of the daily increase in the prices of construction materials. Experts in the field of building and construction have been wondering about sources through which this can be achieved so that we can be able to actualize the sustainable housing development that we are anchoring on this Kaduna International Housing Exhibition. Without wasting much of your time, it will be good for us to delve into the discussion proper. And I would like to start with the representative of the Vice Chancellor of my alma mater, the prestigious Ahmadu Bello University. Dr Sanusi, you are welcome to this panel today.
Thank you so much. I would like to start on existing protocol.
Thank you, Dr. Sanusi Gambo. Without much ado, it is not a strange thing, like I said earlier, that when you look at what we face, we look at climate change and issues that has to do with sustainability of the building industry and patronage to those who are actors and the players in the building industry. The tight activities they've been facing as a result of the expensiveness of building material. Can you please abreast our audience the major causes of the expensiveness of building material that we are currently facing in Nigeria? Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think the issue we should be discussing here is not even about the expensive nature of the building materials themselves, because the issue to be discussed is the sustainability of construction materials. One of the major issues that prompted the discussion on sustainable construction materials is the environmental degradation activities that are associated with the manufacturing of traditional construction materials. Because the construction industry relies heavily on traditional construction materials such as steel and concrete. This material, the production process, consumes enormous resources. For instance, on an annual basis, the construction industry consumes 30 to 40% of the global energy. It also depletes 3 billion tons of raw materials. Thirdly, it emits huge quantity of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Now, due to these environmental degradation activities associated with the manufacturing of traditional construction material, there is a growing concern among international organizations and intergovernmental entities advocating for carbon neutrality in the construction industry. This aligns with the United Nations COP28 Conference of Parties that was held recently in Dubai, which aims at achieving or reducing carbon emissions by 43% and limiting global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius by 2030. This effort is an attempt to achieve carbon neutrality in all sectors of the economy. So now, one of the major issues or challenges we are facing in the construction industry in terms of expensive nature of the construction materials is lack of the ability of the construction industry to adopt locally available materials that are environmentally friendly. For instance, one of the major construction material that is used worldwide is cement. Its production consumes a lot of resources, and because of that, it will have to be expensive. For instance, you start with extraction or mining of raw materials for the production of cement, the manufacturing or processing, production. After production, the cement will have to be transported to various locations. All these activities are associated with cost implication when you look at the entire life cycle of the production process. Now, if we opt for locally available materials, there is this material called kaolin, which is an ordinary clay that is abundantly available in most locations in Nigeria. You can use kaolin to produce what is called geopolymer cement. This geopolymer cement, you don't have to use the ordinary Portland cement in producing cement-based products. So because of that, there is need to have more of this kind of events that will enlighten people on how to implement these locally available materials in day-to-day construction activities.
Thank you, Dr. Sanusi. That is a very interesting discussion. Thank you so much. I would like to go to my second discussant, Dr. Oluwafemi Akande. Can you please, based on the background made by Dr. Sanusi, and looking at this to local content in a point to be able to sustain the construction industry, what do you think the impact of climate change can actually bring about interrupting this effort that we are trying to achieve?
Yes, the impact of climate change will play a significant role based on how we are able to harness locally available construction materials that are environmentally friendly. Once we begin to over-rely on materials that consume a lot of resources and deplete the natural environment, then we are going to be calling more for the aggressive negative impact of climate change in our environment, in our society. And that is not going to help the construction industry either. Like the first speaker already said, there are environmentally friendly construction materials that are abundant and available in Nigeria that have been lying fallow and has not been harnessed, has not been looked at, has not been considered at all. We need to shift our focus from materials that deplete the natural environment and can aggravate or cause a kind of aggressive impact of climate change on our society. And that is what I think, if we are going to be achieving affordable housing, mass housing for the Nigerian populace, this is what our focus and attention should be at this time.
Thank you so very much. That's a quick and a very intelligent one. And now we are now talking about these materials that you are proposing, or which you think have been lying fallow. And then I want to come back to Dr. Sanusi Gambo. Can you please apprise our audience the sustainability of recycled glasses, recycled plastic, recycled glass, recycled steel? It has, I believe, in the recent time, the industry has been really carrying out a revolution towards ensuring that there are sustainable and cheaper, let's say cheaper, and possibly a better way of getting construction industry to work perfect by recycling all this material. You and I are aware that plastic in particular is most good. Let me stop in Nigeria, for example. You can see it everywhere, and by search of your fellow colleagues, it has been said that it is necessary to harness and utilize it effectively, whereas the construction industry is equally looking at that perspective. How do you think sustainable it is for you to use this material, having been recycled, to carry out a concrete building that can last and the taste of time away from the cracking building that we are seeing in these days? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Apart from recycling of plastic, recycling of steel and what have you, one of the major current issues now at the moment is the recycling of construction and demolition waste. Because on a daily basis, buildings are demolished due to so many reasons. It could be due to expansion of traffic routes, it could be due to alterations, rehabilitation of structures. So now, before going into the issue of steel and plastic, we're even looking at the possibility of recycling construction and demolition waste.
Construction and demolition waste.
And demolition waste.
Can you highlight more on that?
The construction and demolition waste, when buildings are demolished, the debris are usually disposed of into landfills as a waste. So now we are saying no. This kind of material should not be disposed into landfills. They should be recycled in the production of new concrete. So now, in the production of the concrete, you must have used aggregates, especially the past aggregates. After the demolition of the structure, the past aggregates are sorted out from the demolished buildings and recycled in the production of concrete. However, from the researches conducted by different researchers across the world, it proved to be viable. However, there are some challenges associated with this kind of material, such as low strength, low workability, porosity, and permeability. But recently, researchers have put more effort to see how can they improve the properties of this kind of recycled material. And it was discovered that this material can be improved by incorporating some locally available materials. Because we have material that are locally available, for instance, like volcanic ash, which is predominantly available in locations like Plateau State. We also have rice husk. After harvesting rice on our farmlands, The rice will be milled and the husk will be discarded as waste. So the husk can be utilized by burning it and creating or producing an ash. That ash could be suitably used as partial replacement of cement, which can help in improving the properties of whatever cementitious product you are producing. Now, coming back to the issue of plastic, this is a very serious issue that requires a lot of concern from all the stakeholders in the construction industry. Because in 2023, about 300 million tons of plastic were produced worldwide. Only 7% of it was recycled, 8% was incinerated, and the remaining percent was discarded or littered in our environment. So now, there is a serious concern. In the recent days, we have had a governor of Lagos State enacting a law that henceforth plastic food packs should not be used in Lagos State.
Should not be used in which capacity?
For food packaging in Lagos State.
Yeah.
So now, there is growing concern in the academia, in the industry, on how to utilize this plastic waste for the production of various construction materials. This plastic waste can be collected, sorted out, shredded, melted, and used to reproduce so many construction materials such as PVC pipes, PVC tiles, PVC ceiling, and what have you.
Thank you, Dr. Sanusi Gambo. You've really shed more light on this. I believe those listening have been able to pick some good points from that, because it has actually been a major concern that we are moving away from traditional building material into ecosystem. Some have requested that because of expensiveness that these alternatives are cheaper, but we try to now look at the sustainability. How is it supposed to be sustainable? Are there not fears of the substandard building that will be coming up as a result of that?
Actually, because what I want to inform you, is locally available materials can attain. So there is nothing to fear about. He is asking whether utilization of these locally available materials will lead to production of substandard buildings. This is not true. Because from the researches conducted, I personally conducted research on this recycling agreement. And I want to inform you that the properties of these materials produced from locally available materials can equally compete with the conventional traditional materials. Now, the issue of recycling materials such as fast aggregates, such as plastic, such as metals, apart from attaining the same properties of the conventional materials, they will help in conserving natural resources. They will help in reducing energy consumption. Because one of the bases for utilizing or adopting locally available material for the construction of buildings is to look for a material of parity. When I'm talking material of parity, I'm talking about material with equal properties with that of the conventional material. So before you go ahead and adopt any locally available material or alternative sustainable material, it will usually undergo so many tests. In fact, academia has gone to the extent of doing simulations and modeling to ensure that these recycled materials or these locally available materials can equally withstand environmental exposure conditions. So there is nothing to fear about utilizing this innovative material. This innovative material, most of them can serve satisfactorily just like the conventional material. Let me give you another practical example. Just like bamboo. Bamboo is one of the most sustainable material, because one of the approach in employing sustainable material, one is to opt for materials that are renewable or regenerative in nature. Bamboo can grow and regenerate in just 2 years period. And yes, and it can be used for various applications in construction. It can be used for walls, it can be used for partition walls, it can be used even as reinforcement in construction. Because bamboo, for your own information, can attain higher compressive strength even than concrete.
The discussion was centered around expensive nature of cement, expensive nature of blocks. When you go to block factory, they might even give you a substandard one because they want to maximize cost and speed expense. Then there is this discussion about that. And then I was made to know that it has this resistant ability, it is sustainable, it can stay for long, and then it can give you more than what the blocks we are used to seeing can give us. Can you please, in 1 minute, tell us about the block?
Yes, thank you very much. I think there is a new awareness about the use of compressed earth block. They come in different versions. We also have stabilized cement blocks as well. And there's also apart from the new awareness, there's also a new acceptance of it. Now, if you go to Grenoble in France, compressed earth block has been used extensively for buildings, for housing, for massive buildings. And for the fact that they are available, they are also cost effective, and they can be used for any construction purposes. But here, we have not been exposed to the use of compressed earth block for construction purposes, and especially for housing that we are talking about. The compressed earth blocks, they are modern take of what we call the traditional adobe bricks that has been used for centuries. They are a mixture of what the local clay soil and then the sand, a small amount of cement, and maybe a little lime to make a concrete, a masonry block, for construction work. So, but the use of it has not been widely embraced, and for some it has been seen as using it as you are inferior, your building is inferior, your building is not attractive, or you are a poor person. That's why you are using such kind of materials. These materials are used in developed countries and other developing countries like Cuba, India, Malawi, and all these places for mass housing projects.
It was actually very important to me first time I had it in that informal discussion we were holding. In fact, the engineer I was discussing with was even taking me through processes through which this can be achieved. Lastly, without wasting much of our time, Dr. Sanusi Gambo, this we have discussed as intelligent, well articulated, and beautiful and good as it is. It seems not to be moving around the construction industry. It looks like it has been conserved to the academic environment. Is there a plan to please transfer this to the generality of the public so that Nigerians can enjoy and benefit from this innovation that is taking place, both the bio-innovation and the issue of this construction and the earth block that we've just talking about? Just the one important. Thank you.
Actually, there is lack of awareness of most of the researches that have been conducted in academia. But we are gradually taking into the doorstep of clients that are interested in going into this kind of materials. Recently, I have been engaged as consultant to one of the rural housing projects. And during one of our meetings, we unanimously agreed that we are going to utilize adobe blocks due to the expensive nature of cement nowadays. And we have already ordered a machine or purchased a machine from Brazil, which will be used to manufacture the adobe blocks or compressed earth blocks for the production or construction of the rural housing block. So now the major challenge is the awareness, which I believe an exception like this will now bring about an awareness on the current trends, of utilizing locally available materials that can conserve natural resources, protect our environment, and can provide a lot of cost savings in the construction of our buildings.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is bringing us to the end of this very, very important session. I believe the KSDPC will use this opportunity during their communique to provide a recommendation so that this awareness can go to the nook and crannies of this country, because this seems to be a very, very important topic that has not been going wide. Can you please join me to appreciate Dr Sanusi Gambo from Minna University and Associate Professor Akande of the Federal University of Technology, Minna. I sincerely appreciate you on this session. I have been schooled. I believe my audience too have been schooled. We are privileged to be given the opportunity that from the audience, 2 questions can be entertained. So I'll need the MC to please come close here so that we can moderate these sessions of the questions together. One person there, another person here. So thank you.
Okay, good afternoon. Thank you very much. My name is Engineer A.S. So my question is specifically to you. While you are making your presentation, you talk about strengthening recycled material with rice husk ash. So my question goes this way. If we are trying to create sustainable environment, now adopting rice husk, which involve emission of green gases into the atmosphere. So how can we balance the equation of trying to clean the environment and as well burning carbon dioxide again into the environment for development? So that's my question. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Engineer, you have asked a very, very crucial question. But I want to inform you that the concept of sustainability is not only about eliminating carbon dioxide emission completely, but the concept of sustainability in terms of sustainable construction materials is to opt for materials that have reduced or minimum impact on the environment. Now, when you compare the carbon dioxide that will be emitted in the production of 1 ton of cement and carbon dioxide that will be emitted in the production of 1 ton of rice husk ash. Actually, the carbon dioxide arising from the production of cement will supersede that of rice husk ash. Because for every 1 ton of cement produced, 1.25 ton of carbon dioxide is emitted into the atmosphere. In 2022 alone, 1.6 billion tons of carbon dioxide were emitted across the world. And in Nigeria, 11.2 million tons were emitted. Now, researches have been conducted, and it was established that if you are producing 1 ton of cement, 1.2 ton of carbon dioxide will be emitted. And another research was equally conducted in order to ascertain the carbon emission that will arise from the production of these recycled materials. And by far, the carbon emissions was reduced after adopting alternative local materials. So sustainability is not only about eliminating carbon emission completely, but sustainability is looking at how do you go for materials that have reduced impact on the environment. Because as I said earlier, there was this conference of parties, United Nations Conference of Parties, that was held in Dubai last year. One of the resolutions is not to eliminate carbon emission completely at the start. But the attempt now is to cut carbon emission by 40% by the year 2030. And the target is to achieve carbon emission free environment for carbon neutrality by 2050. So now, the whole world is working towards carbon neutrality, but you know it is step by step. Initially now we are working with alternative materials that have minimum or reduced impact compared to the conventional materials. And recently, there are also innovations in the construction industry. One of the innovations is called carbon capture. This carbon capture approach involves capturing all decarbonizing the production of alternative construction materials. And after capturing this carbon into an underground chamber, it is compressed and still utilized in the production of concrete. And that is called carbon-cured concrete. Because when you add carbon dioxide into a concrete mix, you already have calcium oxide present in the concrete. So when you mix the calcium oxide and carbon captured during the production of conventional materials, you will have calcium carbonate. And when you have this calcium carbonate, it will serve as a pillar material in a concrete or cement materials, which will later improve the properties of that material you are producing. So the concept of sustainability in a nutshell is to minimize or get materials that have reduced negative effect on the environment. It's not only about eliminating carbon emission completely. Thank you.
Hello. Okay, good afternoon. My name is Yusuf Idris Awoke. I'm the Special Assistant of Climate Change to His Excellency Governor Minna. I hope, I know you know that to the housing participants here that, of course, 70% of carbon emission comes from urban activities. So urbanization contributes to 70% of carbon emission. Then you take away transportation, the clearing of the fuel for construction and other things, then the construction itself, because most of the estates that are built today, you see that the houses are interlocked. And once you open the gates, you see that the road is tarred. So at the end of the day, there is little water that is seeping into the ground, which actually affects the underground, the groundwater. Then the issue of green area, which is taken not seriously, it's something I want you to talk about so that let your players in the estate sector understand that effect, that there will be need for every home to have a green area no matter how small it is, because of if everywhere is padded and water is not seeping into the ground, it has multiple effects, both on groundwater, microorganisms, the biodiversity, and the rest of that, which actually are flooding, and the rest of them, which affects not just the sustainability of the urban, areas, but the survival of minds. So please, I want you from the academic angle to shed light on that, so that me, myself, and the audience here will get a better understanding of the effect of non-provision of that green area within a house, no matter how small it is. Thank you.
Thank you so much. This is equally a very, very important question, because there is also this concept of green building. One of these concepts that is currently practiced in developed nations is construction of green roof. When you go to developed nations, not only the planting of green area within our premises, but they go into innovations whereby they construct green roofs. And these green roofs is a situation where a conventional, in most cases, the conventional roof will be in form of slab decking. And when you have a slab decking, grasses or vegetation are planted on the roof. One of the advantages of having this green building is when you have a green roof, for instance, it prevents penetration of heat or heat influx into the interior of the building by about 70%. It also helps in absorbing carbon dioxide, because most of this green area we have in our premises, they help in absorbing carbon dioxide that is emitted into our environment. So the production of buildings by adopting green concepts is very, very essential. It's very crucial at the moment, especially now that we are facing this issue of global warming. So it is very important to go green. But what we have said earlier, one of the major issues is lack of awareness. Most of these researches have been conducted, the viability has been assessed, and they have proven effective. So now is to create awareness on how to utilize these researches in building homes that will be sustainable in combating the issue of climate change. Thank you.
So I think your question also has to do with looking at designs that are environmentally friendly. Simplified design for housing and for construction purposes that integrates all environmental features and can make a construction and a building to be environmentally friendly. In most cases now, some of the designs are void of landscape area within the environment, within the building, like he has actually said, that can help to absorb the carbon dioxide and then have more production of oxygen and also collect, retain water within the soil. So we need some more simplified, environmental friendly designs for construction purposes and housing.
Are you done? Okay, sir. Thank you. Sorry, you know, we are all teachers here, so you realize that we are taking your time. It is today massive day in the class. So one last question there, and then wrap this up, please. In 2 minutes, we are supposed to leave this stage. Sir, please go ahead. Thank you.
Sorry, my question is on the compressed air blocks that you mentioned. By using it at least, I will be creating another problem, which is issues of erosions. How do you manage that? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. There are finishes that are applied to compressed air blocks, and there are paints and other things that are water resistant that are applied to compressed air block when it is completed. So that can help to deal with the issue of washing away and erosion and the rest of them. And sometimes you can also have the use of composite materials in the use of compressed air blocks. And there are a lot of innovations now, construction innovations now, that you can apply together with compressed air blocks. We can use composite materials like for structural elements like beams and columns, and then other materials along with it to make it more environmental friendly and to prevent the issue of washing away erosion and the rest of them.
I think, sir, to just add a little to what he has said, I want to inform you that if you are producing compressed air blocks, as I mentioned earlier, sometimes there is need for stabilization. This stabilization involves using other materials in order to improve the properties of the earth bricks. Sometimes you can use cement, sometimes you can use locally available materials like makuba, like starch, like other supplementary cementatious materials. The essence of adding these materials is to improve the properties of the compressed air bricks, such as resistance to erosion, improvement of compressive strength, and other properties.
Ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the end of this all important and very, very, very impressive session. Thank you, Dr. Sanusi Gambo, for having me with you. Thank you, Dr. Akande. Ladies and gentlemen, I take my bow. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you very much.